This is a battle in the use it and lose it tournament between Blademaster and C3nturion. C3nturion is commanding Parthia over here. Blademaster is commanding Suebi. Suebi is a reasonably good pick against Parthia. I don't know if Blademaster picked Suebi first or whether he picked it second, but either way, it's a good faction against Parthia. These Germanic slingers can tank missiles for days. You have a lot of precursors, cheap spear levy. You have units with cavalry counter tactics, like these spear walls. And something that's easy to forget about Suebi is that a lot of their shields have a huge missile block chance, including the shields on their slingers. So a frontal skirmish engagement with Suebi might not end well. Then we have the Germanic Scout Riders, and the Germanic Scout Riders are really good because they have melee capabilities and they can also catch the Sarmatian Horse Archers. So you'll see a lot of people send out their Horse Archers thinking free shots on these guys, but since these guys are actually faster, they can catch them and kill them in melee. So his general is a Wodenast Spear. He has 4 Wodenast Spears in the background here. Then he has some Noble Riders, and this is interesting that he brought the Noble Riders, since they are, quite frankly, a terrible cavalry unit. Main reason being they have a 10 bonus versus large instead of a bigger 15 bonus, and for that price, being only heavy, it's a lot to spend on that. But I mean, it's sort of, I see why he wants to have that, why he wants to have the Noble Riders, because Suebi has no good mid-tier cavalry either. So for Parthia, we see some mercenary Sarmatian Horse Archers, we see a Noble Horse Archer, we see Persian Hoplites, Parthian Swords, Persian Hoplites, some Eastern Cataphracts, so quite the infantry from Parthia here. And Parthia is being cheeky with the Noble Horse Archers. I mean, these guys need to be super careful. It's not like they can get destroyed in melee, they have some nice melee stats. But if they are caught by Germanic Scout Riders, unable to withdraw, and then Spear Levy supports, then you can kiss your Noble Horse Archers goodbye. So using Precision Shot early on, that's going to tire them. But they do have the ability to use Second Wind, and on this particular map, Suebi is going to get the worst of the fatigue, because Parthia has a lot of units that have resistance to that. Now here the interesting Noble Horse Archers now trying to chase the Germanic Scout Riders a bit. We have some Eastern Spearmen in support, and the Eastern Spearmen could do well against Spear Levy if they fought on the extreme top of the hill here and were able to get a nice downhill charge. It looks like they are going to get the charge against the Spear Levy, but the Spear Levy is being pulled back, so only going to lose a few men there. Now a rare charge, but these guys are probably too slow. Yeah, they're very tired, they haven't used Second Wind, so 1 kill, nicely done by the Eastern Spearmen. And you'll see that these units already active. Pushing up the Germanic Slingers now, and this is a pretty good position here for Parthia. Imagine being able to get downhill charges with cataphracts down here, or even just downhill charges with the Noble Horse Archers. They are exhausted now, so they're going to be incredibly slow. The Median Cavalry took some fire from these Germanic Scout Riders, but firing uphill is quite ineffective. Interesting map this. It looks like, I mean, Blademaster could position himself here. I don't think, no, wouldn't be in range of any skirmishers. Exhausted Noble Horse Archers. Persian Hoplites nicely screening the Germanic Scouts. Germanic Scouts taking a bit of damage. I like that he's brought these Parthian swords, because Parthian swords, they are a crappy sword unit, but once your enemy goes full on Parthia counter and brings a lot of spears, they can do well. But against Wodanas in particular, and especially Pride fast charge Wodanas, they're not going to do too much at all. Just a bit of skirmishing going on the flanks. It's not like Parthia has that much skirmish, and look at the positioning of Parthia, slowly starting to surround the defensive position of Blademaster. But this is a very difficult situation for Parthia to be in particular, because Parthia is at a skirmish disadvantage. Suebi has the infantry advantage. Suebi has fast charge, so it's Parthia can't really do much at range against Suebi in this particular case, and if Parthia engages too hastily, Parthia is just going to lose. Simple as that. Winded Eastern Spearmen against Winded Spear Levy. The Eastern Spearmen get the downhill charge, but it looks like they are losing. Now some Persian Hoplites coming in to support on the flanks. Let's see, the Eastern Spears just stand there and take the hits. Parthian Horse Archers, interesting. So, by virtue of the support from the Persian Hoplites, the Spear Levy is going to lose. But there is a lot of support incoming for Suebi. They have these Noble Riders, but the Noble Riders need to be careful. They could get downhill charged here. Median Cavalry getting smashed by Precursors in the back. Another unit of Median Cavalry coming in to save it, to envelop the Noble Riders there. Nicely done. We also have some Eastern Spears moving into support, so this was a decent engagement for Parthia. If they manage to get the Noble Riders, that would be very nice. And over here, yeah, the Noble Riders get hit downhill from Medians. And now they basically can't disengage without losing a lot. Interesting, Eastern Cataphracts getting caught here by Germanic Scout Riders, while these guys are standing and firing just point blank into them. That might turn out to be worth it if the friendly fire isn't too bad. So Parthia doing a decent job on the flanks here, taking these Noble Riders down a bit, but it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad for the Noble Riders. The Spear Levy is still in there, still doing damage to the Medians. And it looks like another Cataphract was robbed of its charge. Now the Wodanas, the Spear Wall actually comes in, but Spear Wall, counter cavalry tactics, goodbye Eastern Cataphracts. Let's see how quickly they drop. Ooh, that hurts. So slipping up on the Cataphract micro here a bit. Now and these Median Cavalry are just standing there and taking it from the Noble Riders. Another unit of Median Cavalry about to bite the dust there. So it's not looking great for Parthia. Fast charge is activated for Suebi. And fast charge, spear walls, and Wodanas into this blob, and Parthia is wrecked on the flanks. Amazingly, Spear Levy still holding out, and yeah, the Eastern Cataphracts just destroyed without doing anything meaningful in this battle. And the Wodanas will do very well. Here we see a shield wall bugging out for the Parthian swords, not making their life any easier. Now the Parthian swords move into support against the spear wall here. And that should take care of the Noble Riders as well. But there is so much Suebi left here on this flank, just mopping up what's left of the Parthian units. Parthia is in a tough spot, no doubt about it. The Spear Levy exhausted, the Germanic Scout Riders are fresh. Now if the Wodanas manage to get into the Median Cavalry, it's goodbye Median Cavalry as well. So yeah, the Median Cavalry is goodbye. Now the Eastern Cataphracts come in. They come in at an uphill angle, but they should still get some nice kills here. takes so long to kill a spear wall when they have their shield wall up. And the Eastern Cataphracts just, they must cycle charge Wodanas. They cannot be left in there and Wodanas be able to use their cavalry counter tactics. It's just a disaster for the Cataphracts. So here we have a cheeky little unit of Parthian swords standing around and not really doing anything in their shield wall. They get wrecked by precursors, and now the Wodanas are going to charge in and destroy them. So many problematic engagements here for Parthia. And this really starts to add up over the course of a game, losing that many cavalry units, losing the very important Cataphracts, essentially without them being able to do much. Wodanas getting a bit of a love tap from the noble horse archers, but at least the noble horse archers have the sense to get the hell out of there. Here comes a nice charge from some Eastern Cataphracts, but once again, the precursors are such a problem when you have multiple lines of precursors. And now the Eastern Cataphracts, if they don't get, they need to get... Cataphracts basically need to turn around almost before they touch the enemy unit to be able to get out. Now here's the noble riders that get caught by the Medians. That was quite important, actually. Once again, this Cataphract is just being wasted in extended melee against 2 spear units. Absolutely no point in leaving it like that. But now the Parthian swords manage to get a charge on the spear wall. The spear wall in shield screen is still going to be able to do reasonably well. At least hold for a long time in that engagement. See this unit here, this Wodanas, still fighting. 106 melee defense. Makes it very hard to hit it in melee. Now I wonder how much ammunition there is left on these horse archers, and if Parthia can deal with the slingers. Because sniping the Suebi general could be a viable tactic at this point. Parthian swords moving in. This Parthian sword, I don't know what it's doing. It's not doing much. It's firing into the back of the spear wall, which is useful, but it needs to kill some slingers, or it needs to kill something. Nicely done here. Getting the mercenary summation horse into the Germanic slingers. And finally, the spear wall breaks over here. And Pride being activated. Wodanas firing into the flank of the Parthian swords. Parthian swords losing decisively. They are basically like thorax swords. Not good swords. And here looks like the Eastern Spears about to be charged. They are exhausted, so the Wodanas are going to be able to catch them. Always important to be aware of that, whether you can actually run away from your enemy or whether you can't. Nicely done here, getting the Eastern Cataphracts in together with the Eastern Spears. But Parthia has a few cheeky horse archer units left. If they have the ammunition, it's not entirely impossible this for Parthia. But the Wodanas once again get into the noble horse archers, but this time there was support. So counter cavalry tactics was used, but it's not going to work that well. And you can see the Wodanas, once they start getting tired and their melee defense drops, they become a very fragile unit. The mercenary summation horse, 0 kills, so I guess these guys haven't been firing for too long. Might have a lot of ammunition left. The Parthian swords are getting a lot of kills. Seems like the Parthian swords are going to be instrumental here. It's not over, but it's looking better for Parthia than it did. But here we see that these Parthian horse archers are slower than the Germanic scouts. But the spears were in the way, so very Very nicely done there in blocking the Germanic scouts. And now the noble horse archers come in, will take care of the Germanic scout riders. Sarmatian horse, nope. Decides against it, turns away. So now the Wodenaz spears, they are losing against Parthian swords, Persian hoplites. And the thing with these guys, they are better against cavalry than, say, hoplites, but they are worse in extended melee in terms of killing power because they lack phalanx. And lacking phalanx takes away 5 from their melee damage and 5 from their melee attack. But they do have a much higher melee defense than any hoplite unit. And lower armor, so there's sort of a trade-off there. And here we see the Wodenaz spears. Looks like they were trying to get out, but that just made them lose that much harder. And the Persian hoplites get 144 kills for Persian hoplites, very nice. And now they're getting a rear charge into the Wodenaz. The mercenary Sarmatian horse archers just go balls deep into these Germanic slingers, but counter cavalry tactics is activated and goodbye Sarmatian horse archers. But at this point it's goodbye Suebi, because look at all the Parthia left and look at how little Suebi there's left on the field. 88 kills on these guys, let's see. Yeah, the Wodenaz spears are just about the only unit left here. They're starting to waver due to army losses. So Parthia, although I mean it's frankly amazing that Parthia was able to pull this one off, because missing so many cavalry charges and winning by virtue of infantry, that's astounding, really. Because look at the performance by the Eastern Cataphracts, just terrible performance, and the infantry essentially picks up the slack, and that's something you don't see a lot of in with Parthia. Some of the Wodenaz get nice kills for Blademaster, 163, 192, but I think maybe noble riders a bit unnecessary, 4 Germanic scout riders instead, and Germanic slingers, great choice. But I think going all spear against Parthia is a bit dangerous, because it's a bit predictable, and bringing these, I mean, Parthia, just a standard Parthia skirmish army would struggle against this, but once you start bringing in a few infantry units into the mix, things start getting more interesting. Because even though Blademaster got some great engagements with his spear walls and his Wodenaz spears, the infantry turned out to be what came and bit him in the proverbial ass later on. Well, that was a really good game. So looks like Blademaster is out of the tournament. C3nturion advances. So good game, guys. Strength and honor.